website and CNN website, and there was nothing in any of the major mainstream, like, you know, national newspapers about what was happening. And I very naively thought maybe it's just going to take a couple days because it's in America and this is happening in Israel. So every morning, it was like a little test. Every single morning this 1 week, I woke up, I checked with friends in Israel about what was happening here. The problem, the crisis was continuing. And every morning I checked the papers and there was nothing.
What year is this?
2007, 2 years ago. By the end of the week, New York Times, there was nothing all week. End of the week, New York Times, huge headline, IDF kills 5 in Gaza. Okay, I read the whole article, and as I'm reading this article, I'm like, who reads the whole article? Nobody does. We don't read the whole article. We read the headline, and maybe the first paragraph. I read the whole article, and there is no way, from reading this article, no way to understand that civilians are being targeted, that civilians are suffering, and that the IDF was actually targeting people who were standing there planting rockets, getting ready to, there was no way to understand this, because they call the militants, not terrorists, militants fire at army installations, or at soldiers. I was outraged, totally outraged. I suddenly, in this one moment, my entire perception of how I interpret the news, how I see the news, was changed. I was somebody who am very, you know, I'm a documentary filmmaker, so I'm surrounded by very left-wing liberal people. I've always been sort of a moderate, but you know, I felt free to criticize the Israeli government policies, even though I've always been very pro-Israel. So I would read an article, and it would say, Israelis go into Gaza, and I would be like, oh geez, they just got out of Gaza. What are they doing in Gaza again? This is so embarrassing. You know, as an American Jew, I felt embarrassed when they would do something that seemed like it was too much, or whatever. I mean, this was how I interpreted the news. So in this one moment, I realized everything I've been reading is bullshit. I don't know anything. Our interpretation of like what the events that's happening is basically not. We don't have the information to make the decisions, it's not decisions, but even to form an opinion. So I decided that I said if the New York Times isn't going to put it on their front page, I'm going to go and make a film about it. I want to raise awareness about what's happening in this place. So I came here 2 years ago, and I did a lot of research, and I found out that Sderot is a famous rock and roll city in Israel, which even some Israelis don't even know. But the truth is that a lot of big rock bands in Israel came from here. And it was fascinating to me that there was all this music. So I said, I wonder what's happening now. I wonder if there are people making music in Sderot now. Maybe that's an interesting way for me to tell my story. Instead of making like a political talking heads movie, as a filmmaker, I'm always looking for like a really human angle, an interesting angle, and I thought, wow, I wonder, you know, artists are how they're affected by events. How do they take in these things that are happening to them? How do they take in the fact that they're being bombarded on a daily basis? So that's what I did. I came here to make a film about rock musicians who are living here, working here, making music here. And I'm still working on my film, and I'm going to show you now a 10-minute piece of it, trailer, because it's not done yet. We're still editing. And then we'll continue, and then I'll go give you a little tour around my Sderot that I have come to know and love. Yeah? Yofi. I won't be on the... Okay. Okay. Lights and play?